Shaun Haney here with Real Agriculture. It's now time for a product spotlight, and today we're talking about some innovation in the phosphorus market. Joining us is Craig Dick of Phospholutions to talk about RhizoSorb. Craig, how are we doing?
Doing great, Shaun.
Okay, we're going to talk about RhizoSorb today, and you're super excited about the launch into Canada for the 2026 crop year. But to start, let's kind of set the stage where we are right now in the overall phosphorus market, because it kind of tells a little bit of the story why people want to maybe have their interest perked here a little bit when it comes to RhizoSorb.
Yeah, currently, we are sitting at probably the most expensive phosphorus per bushel of corn ever since they've been recording that. So what that means is elevated phosphorus prices even in Canada. So right now in the U.S. with our tariffs, there's no import product coming into the States, and so right now. I heard just this morning a manufacturer went up $20 a ton. They're looking at $1,000 U.S. short ton to the grower pricing of phosphorus in the Pacific Northwest. So those are astronomical prices, and we think we have an opportunity to help growers save some money on their phosphorus bill this year.
Yeah, well, I think you got my interest perked. I'm sure the audience is the same. So I guess tell us, what is RhizoSorb and what makes it different than traditional phosphate fertilizers?
Yeah, so RhizoSorb is our patented technology that we licensed in 2016 from Penn State University, and have spent the last 9 years doing research and development to essentially upgrade MAP monoammonium phosphate fertilizer. So we take our technology and we incorporate it into the production process at a large MAP granulation facility, so that the product comes to your farm ready to go as a direct replacement for MAP. We'll use a little less on a per acre basis, but because we can feed the crop up to twice as much phosphorus per unit applied, we can apply a little less, get the same response or better at a lower cost per acre, and use less per acre. So especially up here in Canada, where most of your product fertilizer is going down through a seed row place,
Yep.
There's huge operational savings over and above the 10% savings we can give a grower.
So this is a physical product. It's not something that you're I guess adding as an additional adjunct to your current phosphate program.
Correct. The finished product that we are selling in Canada right now is called RhizoSorb 839.0. It is a direct replacement for MAP or DAP, and comes to your retailer or your farm ready to go. All you got to do is change out your MAP for RhizoSorb, and RhizoSorb 839.0, and it's ready to go.
Now, how does it increase yield while we're using less phosphorus? How does that math work out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about monoammonium phosphate. It's a super soluble phosphorus fertilizer. So when you apply it to your farm, between 70 and 90% of that phosphorus is going to be tied up in your soil in the first 30 days. Meaning you're getting somewhere between 10 to 30% of that phosphorus getting into your crop in year one. So what RhizoSorb is it's a metal oxide that we incorporate into the phosphorus production process, and the phosphate adsorbs to our metal. And so when you apply the phosphorus fertilizers 839.0 to your farm, it essentially controls releases based off of plant demand. And so essentially we are avoiding that phosphorus tie-up issue that's so prevalent with all other phosphate fertilizers. And because we're not getting so much phosphorus fertilizer tied up in the soil, more gets in the plant. Therefore, we can apply less, pass some savings on to the grower, and essentially have the same yields, if not slightly better.
And that phosphorus, we're trying to get as close to the seed, and it's really that launch out of the ground, right?
Correct. So with RhizoSorb, it does still have a soluble component. So we know through our testing and trial work that we are supplying enough phosphorus for those early season demands of that plant to get it set up properly for high yield later in season. But the challenge again with traditional phosphate fertilizers is late in season during grain fill, it's when you need most of your phosphorus in the plant. But at that time, the soils have bound up all the phosphorus. It's not releasing fast enough to fulfill the plant demands. So then you start translocating phosphorus out of lower leaf tissues. You get firing, trying to finish out that crop. With RhizoSorb 839.0, we have more of a 90 to 120 day feeding period, and so we are consistently feeding that plant phosphorus all season long and effectively never running short. And we see that in our tissue samples.
Are there crops that need, or maybe I should ask it this way, are there crops where phosphorus is more critical to achieving that optimum yield, or like just yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, well, some crops are hungrier for phosphates. Like we know corn will luxury feed phosphorus. Like it'll take up all the phosphorus you give it, but it doesn't necessarily translate to yield.
Right.
And so there are other crops like potatoes that just use a massive amount of phosphorus for that crop. And so each crop does manage phosphorus a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, they all need it. And traditional products, they're not optimized to feed phosphorus all season long. They're highly soluble and they're going to tie up. And so we've really worked to upgrade phosphorus, make a new generation of phosphate fertilizer that is more optimized for season long feeding.
Yeah. So if I'm thinking about RhizoSorb, I can use it across my crop mix.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting. Okay, that is that. So another distinction, and we've been talking about RhizoSorb on Real Ag Radio, and I had an audience member reach out and say, "Well, is this a biological?" And I laughed because you and I have talked about this before. This is a question you get a lot.
Yeah.
So let's clear the air on that one.
Yeah, so RhizoSorb is not a biological. It does sound like one, but we do work on we work on keeping phosphorus available in a plant available form, and it's works independent really of soil types or pHs. Across all of our trials, you see better performance no matter the pH. You see even performance no matter the soil type. And so essentially, what you can think about RhizoSorb that it's doing is it's acting as a sponge, helping to keep phosphorus in available form, and really improving the way phosphorus cycles in the soil.
Hmm.
So it's not a biological, so it works more consistently across soil types and across crop types. Essentially, really what we're doing is making the phosphorus in your soil stay available so the plant can access it.
Yeah, and it been in the market in the U.S. For a bit, new to the Canadian market.
Yep.
One question probably a lot of the audience is also asking is, okay, that this all sounds good, sounds like a really good story. I like what you're saying, Craig, but let's talk turkey here. What are the actual trial results showing in the market?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the product was developed at Penn State by a world-renowned horticulture researcher back in the 90s. And in 2016, we licensed our first patent from Penn State. Over the course of the past 9 years, we've developed a number of like close to 10 more patents on the technology. We have nearly 700 small plot replicated and large scale field trials that have been conducted mainly in the US. This year, we added another 6 small plot replicated wheat trials that go from Texas to North Dakota, as well as some on farm trials. So there is an immense amount of data that's in research that's gone into proving out the technology. It's really a world-class data set that you would expect from when one of the majors launches a new product. So last year we had trials in the U.S. on canola as well, and so we're really trying to build up that data set. And now that we have our registered to work in Canada, we're expanding that research and those demo trials in Canada. Just down in Vulcan yesterday on a wheat trial. It looked amazing. The grower was really happy with it, and with the cost savings, the operational savings he's going to have. Of course, the combine tells a story. If he gets the same yield, he's putting it on all of his acres.
Yeah. Penn developed to Penn State. That means you're cheering for Penn State in college football this year. Is that what is?
Well, I live outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm actually
Okay, well, be
there,
careful.
but you got to have a backup, right? So yeah, we
Well, both teams looking to improve, no doubt.
that's
Okay. Okay. So we've got we know this. Input costs are rising. We talked about that already. Margins on the farm, they're tight. Okay. So let's talk about the ROI here and some of the things that you've been seeing.
Yeah, so ROI, when we look at our corn data, our corn trial data, we typically will save that corn grower around 10% on a per acre basis. So for the average grower, it's about $4 an acre. We'll see roughly about a 1.6% yield increase on corn. And so that roughly translates to about a $20 ROI for the grower that switches. Translate that to Canadian prices, you're looking at about $27 an acre in ROI for the grower. When we look at our wheat trials that we've done, we're seeing kind of that consistent $20 an acre as well ROI. So a little bit of cost savings, small yield increase, makes it a pretty easy economic decision for a grower to make the change.
Yeah, and because of some of the timing of all this, the timing of whether it's trying some of it on your farm or you're going all in or you're just doing a small trial, just the timing is kind of right to test things out in this kind of environment.
It is. I've actually been very surprised. We've been out selling RhizoSorb in the U.S. since 2023, and very surprised by the number of growers that understand how inefficient current phosphate sources are. Everybody knows how expensive it is. And so everybody's looking, at least growers, they are looking for other options to bring some profitability back to their farm and spend less on fertilizer. And so, a lot of headwinds there for us, and excited to get this out on more farms in Canada and see how it performs across your crops in this environment up here.
Yeah, if you look at data, market research out of the US, you look at some of the market research that we've done at RealAgriculture through Real Agri Studies, one of the main concerns is input prices. Mm-hmm. So that very much backs up what you're saying. So if somebody's interested in considering RhizoSorb for the future growing season here, how do they find out more and what do they do?
They should go to Phospholutions.com, where they can download performance reports and see trial data for themselves. They can connect with one of our regional salespeople if they got questions. We also have a grower calculator where growers can go in and they can add in their acres and their current MAP or DAP application rates and see how much they could save on their farm. So again, we are, most growers should see around a 10% savings on a per acre basis just on the cost of their fertilizer. There should be additional savings and benefits from the operational side as well.
Talk to that local retailer, and walk in there and say, "Hey, I want to talk about RhizoSorb."
That's right. So we're the manufacturer. We sell through distribution and retail again because it's still a high volume fertilizer. The local retailers have the infrastructure to have that product when you're ready for it. So talk to your local retailer. Many of them up here we've already been talking to over the last 6 months, and they should be aware of it, and they can certainly get you a local price. So again, how much you're going to be able to save on your farm.
Great stuff. Hey, Craig, thanks so much for joining us here today for this product spotlight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. Appreciate it.